Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 184 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, coming off of our bye week with my fellow teammates.
That was a great transition. My
It
name is
was.
Craig. I don't have a good introduction like that. My name's Craig. I'm a guy.
My name is also Craig. I would say fresh off the bye week, but we're still loaded with games, so not so fresh off the bye week.
Still on the injury report, would you say?
Yes, still recovering in the ice bath of games.
Yeah, or the backlog has never looked fuller still the same backlog.
God. It's
Yeah,
so
oh my God.
much.
But what we are going to also catch up on is the news, because we didn't do it last week, so now we got 2 weeks worth of news to go over. So, news on my end, I'm going to go from the older to the newest here. Arcane Season 2 is going to be coming out November 2024. Excited for a new Arcane season. Kind of made people care about League of Legends, not really, but just like the show. I enjoyed the show, so I'm cool with it. I'll probably play League when it comes back out again and then stop for the foreseeable future.
I love that show. I can't wait for another season.
Should be good.
I haven't partook.
Oh,
You should.
what are you doing? It's great.
Yeah.
I know.
Go watch it now. Stop the podcast. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Stop the presses.
We will resume after he's done watching all of those episodes.
See you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Got another bye week.
Steam Deck OLED announced in kind
Yes.
of the vein of a Nintendo Switch. My response to all of this is why, and then okay, I guess is kind of my response to it. Like, if why would you get an LED screen when you can get an OLED screen? Look at this fancy new Steam Deck. Blah blah blah. There, interesting, but not for me. It's gonna need a lot more to get me a Steam Deck.
Yeah, isn't it a part of the algorithm? You release the one, and then you release the old. I mean, like they're following Nintendo's playbook a little bit. There, maybe not in year format, like based off of the life of the original Steam Deck. Isn't there supposed to be like a battery increase as well? Something that like substantial enough that makes it matter just a little bit more. I mean, not enough to drop your current Steam Deck to buy an entirely new one, especially if you just bought a Steam Deck like my wife. But I don't know. Like, I guess that would be the only check in the right box for me if I was going to purchase a Steam Deck.
What's the battery life on the one you have?
It's give or take, depending on what she's playing. I'm gonna say 2.5 to 4 hours.
Okay.
Maybe
Sounds about
5. Like she put on Resident Evil 4 remake and got past Chainsaw Man and then put it down for safekeeping because it was at like 25% at that point already, to give you an idea.
Yeah. Okay. So not something you would be taking on a long flight.
No, unless you're playing something that's not requiring as much battery life. You're not playing Spider-Man 2 on that or something like that on a plane.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
We are now in Black Friday season, as most sales are live now. So if you don't have a backlog and wanted one, there are tons of games on sale. I have already fallen victim to this practice and have bought Remnant 2. Why?
Oh,
It's on sale.
Why not?
that's a good idea.
Craig's literally buying it right now. He's like, "Oh crap, I forgot about that."
Wait, what's the price on that bad boy?
I think it's 40.
That's not bad.
That's
it's a
that's
good
what
game.
I wanted.
It's a good game.
No, like it was either wait for it to come out on Game Pass or buy it, and I went, you know what? I will support the developer in somewhat of a way and buy the game. Maybe it's something we all play. I know it's a roguelite there, but I looked at that price point and I went, yeah, that's low enough for me to buy it, so I bought it.
Yeah, I think like tying into that too, if you haven't bought it already, the Metal Gear Solid collection, I believe, is 40 as well.
And
that's like perfect price. And you haven't even opened yours yet, have you?
I haven't. I should have just. I'm an idiot who thinks
I don't know if I have either.
Oh no!
I thought somebody was gonna. I thought it was gonna get sold out, and like it was gonna run the course of what Mario game was that where they stopped All Stars. Where remember when All Stars wasn't going to be made anymore after a certain amount of copies?
Mm-hmm.
and I could have just bought it later. I didn't open it. It's still sitting display view.
I mean, I get it because it's a game you've already played, multiple games you've already played. So it's kind of like be nice to have. That's why I didn't buy it, because I knew I wasn't going to open it. And then when I saw it on 40, I was like, you know what? That's like the perfect price point.
It is.
It has been bought, but it is bought for me for Christmas. So I will see
Gotcha.
it after Christmas,
Awesome.
if that makes sense.
There is a sudden realization of the fact that I buy too many games probably from all of this, because I have looked through deals upon deals and pages of games, and I'm like, I have that, I've got that,
Yeah.
I already have that, and it's like the only game I had to buy was Remnant. It's like, dang, like we've gamed this year. We've
First
been-
world problems.
Yeah, first world problems. Or
Barry, I had the same thing happen to me. Can we
a
get like
very addictive hobby is probably what my issue
Yeah.
is that I'm just not willing to wait for a sale. It's because I buy it right away.
Can we get like give ourselves as a podcast like a reality check in like May or June and just make a list of the games that we actually should wait until holiday season to buy? Like just don't buy day one or something, because like I did the same thing as you, Barry. I looked and I was like, all I really have is the Cyberpunk with like all the new stuff, but I already have the Cyberpunk game, so that's not even a deal. I could just go buy like the DLC and all that. So we should
I
get
feel
those
like
reality.
past couple years have been that issue, at least for me, where I look at the deals and I'm like, I've either already played it or I own it.
Yeah,
it's just such a bummer. I've bought in a lot of games that I played through GameFly, and I was like, you know what, I already beat it, but I'm gonna buy it. You know, I do a lot of that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's one of these things where, and I won't do this because I'll probably have my gamer card revoked. But if we start looking through all the games I've bought but have not beat, like owned physically, it is a very bad list, and I mean
gotta get
bad
through 'em.
in that I have way too many. Yeah, some games are duds. Like I'm not playing Battleland Wonderland. Sorry guys, I'm not beating that. Some games just suck, and I have them.
You need like a 3-month sabbatical to just not leave your house and clear up all these games on your backlog.
Like eat, sleep, workout, game. Like those 4 things have to be the only thing I can do.
When you have the time, Barry, you finish literally any game in like a weekend.
I know I can. I do.
You're like the best. You're better than us at that. I think. I mean,
you are.
Craig has some that he's finished like relative. Alan Wake 2, for example. Craig
in a
that he's finished
weekend.
Yeah, but like you have it, Barry. You have it.
Yeah. What was it, like Horizon? Right? You beat that like in a weekend, didn't you?
Oh no way I beat Horizon. It was probably like a week, most likely. But Horizon I definitely did not beat in a weekend.
Okay.
Man. It was Ragnarok is what I beat in a weekend. And Last of Us Part 2, which speaking of transitions.
Smooth.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose.
I actually, it took me a minute to realize what I did there, to be honest. Last of Us 2 Remaster has been announced. I don't know how you guys feel about this. Some of the new stuff is it's coming out January 19th. You can upgrade for $10. Pretty.
They listened.
I'm A-okay with that. A roguelike mode. A guitar mode is what they're calling it. You'll be able to do all of that. And then they will also be, and this is the part I hate the most. I'm going to be honest. I'm part of the problem. Because I already have the Part 1, like, Sony Direct Edition. Thank you, Craig. You did help me get that, I believe. I now need to have the Part 2.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate that I am the problem.
Yeah.
But I have to have it.
I saw the Steelbook and I was like, I know you're going to fall for it. You're going to fall for it again.
They're preying on me. They know. They know what I'm capable of doing, and they're just going to let me do it.
Yep.
Like
I just see Barry in a room as he's buying it. Are you happy? Just like yelling.
The PlayStation
I knew you
gods.
were. Yep.
Yeah.
See, I was watching the trailer. My initial thought was, we've said this before, but we don't need this remaster. This game just came out a couple years ago. But I do appreciate that they're going the way of the Uncharted, where if you own the game, you can get the upgrade for $10. I appreciate that. I will probably do the $10 just to have it. I'm not going to buy a physical version of it, but the idea of buying it for 10 is great. I just played through it again this year. So I mean, isn't there like cut stuff they said? Like levels or something in there?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no, it seems like there's decent stuff, but like for me, I only ever got through the first couple hours of the remaster part 1, and
Mhm.
That's what
now
I was
I'm
gonna
like,
ask
"Oh,
you.
I should just wait because now I could have both of them and play through both of them at like such a high thing." And a part of me, and I'm going to record my if well, I'm going to be expecting it. Like that arrow scene still gets me to this day
Yep.
in The Last of Us 2. I've never jumped. So I've never been
Yeah.
scared from a not jump scare like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but I'm gonna be expecting it now. But I just gotta, I have to see it again. Like this game has to
Mhm.
like even look even better or feel even better on the PS5. So that's why I'm the problem. I'm the
What's
problem. It's me.
You are the problem. It's
would we
you.
call that arrow scene the top holy crap moment in the last 4 years?
I mean, don't forget
Or
about
one of
Resident Evil 8 with the baby.
yeah, with the baby.
That would be up there as well.
Yeah, like it's just a matter of like that portion scared me in Resident Evil
Mhm.
8, but then this portion was something where I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Like that one truly caught me off guard, and they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yep.
Is what
Yeah.
it was.
Yep. I think that one has more jump scare impact
Yeah.
than anything
good
else
point.
in the past couple of years for sure.
Yeah, and then the last one is the Game Award nominees have been announced. The
Mhm.
show is going to be on December 7th. We will be saving our picks for another podcast as we've plenty to catch up on this week. But speaking of the Game Awards, on to my other co-host here
I'm
with
ready.
a segue.
I'm ready. Are you
Go
ready?
ahead. Go ahead.
I
Oh, you even
am
did the I like it.
pissed off, everybody.
Talk about it.
Not a single Hogwarts nomination anywhere.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I know it was at the beginning of the year, but what? Make some sense, Barry. Make some sense.
So, well, no, it really doesn't make sense to me either because this game should be if
Best music, best story, something.
Yeah, music especially. The music is
Mhm.
great in this
It
game,
is
but I
pretty
have
good.
I have a feeling the issue we're having here is people cannot separate the art from the artist.
True.
Where um I have a feeling Jeff Keighley and his team are probably a little bit afraid to give this game any nominations considering all of the bigotry that has come out of that author's mouth. I'm not
Yep.
going to say her name. People know
Yep.
her.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that's something to be wary of. This series is loved by so many, and what I don't understand on top of it too, because I get a little frustrated about it too. We've been waiting a decade for a Hogwarts game, Harry
Mhm.
Potter like game to come out like this. We finally get one that, for all intents and purposes, meets slash exceeds our expectations,
Yep.
and it's not up for anything. And
Yep.
it's all because the creator is, and I have a feeling one of the issues they're having is they just don't want, if that award wins something, they don't want her on stage. That
Yeah.
is because she owns she owns a part of that or owns the franchise.
Correct.
She, if it got an award, could technically show up, and that would
Right.
just be that would be a hand grenade in a show
would.
that almost never goes over right because of
Yeah. Something.
somebody going on
Well,
stage
yeah.
or something happening.
Oh my god,
Mhm.
yeah.
Like they're trying to mitigate these reasons. I feel bad for the team, Avalanche. I believe that's what the team is that made
Yeah.
that game. They don't deserve that. I hope this game gets the praise it needs elsewhere, but on a national stage like this, it just sucks to see.
Mhm.
I'm not happy about it because the game has some of the best moments in gaming.
Mhm.
Which is why I think for the most part, like tune into our Game of the Year awards because we will be giving that game its due.
Yep.
I can tell you that right now.
We don't have to worry about her showing up, so we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I wouldn't
mean,
invite
maybe.
her.
Yeah.
Never
If,
say
if
never,
she
Craig.
she just somehow knocks on the door while we're recording, I heard I got an award for this.
No, you
Like,
didn't.
oh
What if it's
man.
just like what if it's just Dobby who shows up?
She pops in with Dobby right there. She's like, "You
Oh,
all thought this
man.
was fake."
Oh
my
my
god.
god.
Yeah, I was just a little upset about that. That's all. I
Yeah.
was
Absolutely. This team doesn't deserve that. They put
No.
together such a good game.
yeah. Um Also, with Game of the Year and all that discussion, I also wanted to bring up the joystick awards. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
checked those out as all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Specifically the Xbox Game of the Year, which went to Starfield.
Why?
Here's my thing, and everybody was
Why?
like, "Oh well, there's not that many exclusives anyway." They didn't even nominate Hi-Fi Rush. What?
Yeah, no, high five. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were literally like, all right, our options are either Starfield, Forza, and that's probably it, right? That's all the exclusives that came out this year for Xbox.
And then
Um,
you forget about.
and you forgot to put Hi-Fi Rush on there.
Yeah.
To me, that's a no-brainer. Like, you give it to Hi-Fi Rush; it's the best of the three.
Or at
Yeah,
least
Um,
give it
most
to
definitely.
Forza. At least
yeah,
Forza's been in development for long enough to be considered and looks great,
yeah,
to be honest.
hmm
But Starfield doesn't deserve any sort of award. It came out in a buggy state. It's no
right,
different from I get the technical achievement, I guess is what they would say, but it's not. It's not the best Xbox exclusive game. Not
no,
by a long shot.
no, not even close. I would take Hi-Fi Rush and Forza
Yeah.
over Starfield
I don't
easily.
play Forza, and I would take Forza over
Yeah,
Starfield.
yeah, exactly. I don't think Starfield's a bad game, just to throw that out there. I think it's okay. It's just it needs some work.
It needs some work. It shouldn't be eligible for any rewards except like mediocre game of the year,
Right.
or something like that, or most improved like next year if they do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right. Right. Um all right, and then I got two game leaks slash I guess leaks announcements. First one, obviously we've all played through Spider-Man 2, so we're all done with that. Wolverine. 2025. I thought it might come out next year. They were kind of
mm,
hinting at it. And as we all expected, PS5 exclusive.
Yeah.
I guess I was kind of hoping that one would be cross since it's not Spider-Man, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
The studio's owned
yeah,
by PlayStation, so it's not
Yep.
going
it is.
anywhere.
Right.
I'm happy for you because I know that you own a PlayStation, but I'd be very sad if for some reason you were just
Right.
an only Xbox person.
Right.
And
Right. But I'm still looking forward to that game a lot. I was
oh my
kind of
god,
hoping
yeah.
it would be next year, but take your time, make that game as amazing as Spider-Man 1 and 2 were, and we're good. And then the last one is something I just saw today. We got a leak for not only a Tiny Tina 2 Borderlands, but also Borderlands 4. Do we care?
I feel like it's been long enough removed that
Yeah.
you could probably get some, but I don't get the portion of why two.
Yeah.
Why are we leaking both of these
Hmm.
if that's the case? One, I understand. Borderlands
Mm-hmm.
4 I completely understand cuz even
Right.
Tiny Tina you can get on a PS5. Like there are PS5 versions of that game.
Mhm.
So that's where I'd be like Borderlands 4 makes sense. We're long enough removed, people will buy it.
That we are.
Yeah, I would buy Borderlands 4, I think. I've
We had
enjoyed
fun
all
with
the
3
Border.
when we played
Yeah,
it.
we did.
Yeah.
Tiny Tina, probably not. I didn't like it, but
That's where I see the confusion because Tiny Tina, I don't know. Also, like both leaked, how much effort are we putting into? Because obviously we have a portion of the studio working on one, portion of the studio working on
mm-hmm.
the other.
Right. Well,
I
I
don't know.
think
I Go
Barry,
ahead.
you played Tiny Tina, right?
I
A
did.
decent
I played
amount.
a decent amount. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's a smaller in scope game than Borderlands, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I don't. It's kind of funny to me. It's Borderlands is more like dystopian in a way,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Tiny Tina's almost seems like Borderlands just reskinned with kind of a D&D RPG skin on it. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say so. I would just prefer like Borderlands 4. Like Tiny
Yeah.
Tina's, while the concept was cool and the way they did the storytelling, I think was something. It was something to be awed at because it's a more like third person. Somebody come, you're experiencing it. At least it feels like it
Right.
with whatever Tina creates. It's just a matter of they feel very similar in the end. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't really get two. Well, why are we? Why are two of them being
I'm
leaked?
I'm assuming it sold well, right? Tiny Tina.
Probably did.
Did it? I don't
I
know
felt like
actually.
I felt like it was received pretty well.
It came out in like a March, I think. Didn't it come out in a
Mhm.
March, which is like kind of a good time for a game to
Yeah.
come out? Not a lot of
Yeah.
competition too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, regardless, I'll be there for Borderlands 4. I've beaten all 3 of them and I enjoy them a lot. So bring on Borderlands 4. But that's all I had.
All right. I essentially had, just bits and pieces of some of the juicy things that you guys mentioned. Going on with the awards, specifically the one that you mentioned, the joystick awards, Craig.
Mhm.
I kind of just wanted to touch on how Baldur's Gate basically cleaned house.
Yep.
Um, I mean, if we're looking, it's best storytelling, visual design, best game community, which I love that as a
Mhm.
category, by the way. Best game community, ultimate game of the year, which I don't know why I said that, not last, PC game of the year. And that's just, it's really good to see with them. Because I don't know if you guys know, I didn't really express how I felt about Baldur's Gate 3 when I initially saw the content, but it didn't appeal to me at all. It looked like some Neverwinter Nights modern version that I would never play. I didn't pay attention to the trailers the way you do on something that you're a little more hype at. And then I think it came like some type of force that we don't see as much annually in terms of what the expectancy is versus how well the gaming community, the review community, the nerd community receives it. So I kind of just wanted to announce on this podcast, or not announce it because it's not like a grandeur statement, but to kind of just say shout out to that team because I mean it's a pretty epic game. I just like this close to finishing Act 1. I never picked it up from when I was really playing it because of all the games. Really excited to go back to it, but it's really nice to see that. Also, just for this podcast, Ben Starr, lead performer for Final Fantasy 16 specifically. Ben Starr is
Mhm.
having quite a year anyway. But
Yeah.
for us being FF16 heads, I thought it would be nice just to kind of give him a shout out because, I mean, Clive, man.
Yep. Yep.
Clive is welcome into any of our homes, by the way, Clive, if you're out there. I'm sure that
Do you
we'll.
think Baldur's Gate's going to clean up at the Game Awards?
Yeah, annoyingly so, I think,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I
Um,
kind of I don't know if I, because it's PC only at the moment, and well, for the most part it was for a while. I kind of felt like maybe it won't, but you're right, it probably will.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to hoping be surprised by it maybe, but like Baldur's Gate 3 is also available on console. It's on
yeah.
PS5.
Right. Right.
And it will be coming to Xbox eventually. So it's just a matter of people got to play the game, and like, to be fair, it is a very good game, but it's one of those things where even where God of War Ragnarok won a ton of awards, it kind of gets annoying. Like, other games should get a chance.
And bless you.
And
All right.
bless you.
Well done.
Thank you
But yeah,
guys.
we'll see. I'd be interested to see if there was a metric that we could see as the public of people who actually bought a gaming console, or sorry, a gaming computer, whether laptop or desktop, specifically for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just picturing some 16-year-old at home whose 6 friends all have it, and he's like really mad that he's the only one who's not, and he never wanted a game before. I don't know. That's just my mind going places. Um, but you guys said a lot of the meat. The only other thing that I had mentioned is obviously we have the speculation around Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer.
Yep.
If it is happening at the gaming awards, it's probably not because I mean Rockstar is Rockstar. They can do their own announcement. They don't necessarily need to have Keighley and all these other games taking away from what would be their big announcement. But I saw something randomly that with all this hype came a rumor that Netflix was trying to secure a Grand Theft Auto specifically for the networks, the Netflix gaming platform. Sorry, I had to enunciate there. Um, which I found quite interesting because we see these streaming services or companies with streaming services, Amazon, for example, who also laid off like 150 people from their gaming side, which is
Yep.
funny because if you look, I think they made like what I wrote it down, $244 billion last year, but they
Yep.
laid off 150 people from their expanding gaming side. Anyway, that's a side note, but it's really funny trying to see these these orgs, these entities make plays in the gaming world, and try to secure things that you would only think that Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo would try to secure. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I don't know if it'll come to fruition, but Netflix is trying to, or under the scene, or behind the scenes, or above our pay grade, possibly looking to get Grand Theft Auto on their gaming platform.
If it brought like a Chinatown Wars type game, which was on like DS
Something
back in the
like
day,
that, yeah.
I would play that because I loved that game. That's what I would imagine they would do, like some sort of spin-off,
Yeah,
touch based. That'd be cool. Can
that
they
would be.
afford it though?
I don't know.
A lot of
Rockstar
money. It's a
has
lot.
all
of
the
money.
money in the
It
world.
has to be a lot of money.
Yep.
And I know Netflix. I mean, Netflix is streaming service a lot of money. Like they're a heavy player, but like I don't know. I actually don't know how much, like what their gross and what their
Probably billions.
probably.
I would imagine. Yeah, it'd be
Anyway.
interesting to see. I'd be down with it.
Yeah. And then the last thing I had, and this is kind of like a loose article that I read a while ago, so bear with me here, but I wanted to just mention that out of all of the studios that are letting creative talent go, and the amount of, or I guess the fact that we can't avoid the amount of stories that we've heard of different studios, popular, successful, and not popular and not successful, letting talent go. Nintendo is expanding and actually actively hiring, because there is a particular building that they are creating essentially for more creative, for the more creative portion of Nintendo, that is actually having its construction being pushed back to 2025. But as a result, also Nintendo is actively hiring, and is vocal about actively hiring. So without having an exact quote or an exact job listing to be able to say on this podcast, it is really nice to just generally, as you're scrolling through the negative like news with employment in the gaming world, to see that Nintendo is on the opposite end, at least in what they're doing right now. So
they're probably going to pick up a lot of good talent from these studios that are letting people off.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
And hopefully expand their first party library, which is what they, if there's one
Yes.
weakness, it's that.
Yeah, it is.
True.
That's a good point. But yeah, that's all I had.
All right. So before we get into games this week, just with the looming news of more of the Game Awards, is there a particular game you guys think we'll get a trailer for that you guys want to maybe
besides
guess
GTA?
now?
Because we know that's coming in December for sure.
Judas, another Judas trailer.
Oh yeah,
another like a more substantial one, maybe. BioShock, Judas, anything? This is more wishful thinking.
Yeah. What was the name of that? What was the name of that game that looked like BioShock?
Judas.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Switch 2.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Ooh,
I think maybe a safe announcement on my end will be we are going to get something Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Okay.
Wise. That thing has been delayed for what feels like years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is a good time for it to finally come out, to finally have a release date or something.
College football.
College football. I do think we'll see something from Suicide Squad. We did just see that.
20-minute trailer.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
with the classic costumes now as well. I have a feeling we'll see something from them.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
That they've been going back and forth on that. That could be something.
Yeah.
Is it too early to get maybe another trailer of what's the Star Wars game that looked dope?
Outlaws.
Outlaws.
It would have to be Outlaws, because there are rumors that the Knights of the Old Republic is canceled or dead.
Yeah, dead.
Yeah, which is
waiting
sad.
to hear more about that to report it. So we're just kind of wait.
Yeah, I saw the director said he's not going to talk about it anymore because every time he does, it gets taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
So he just said, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Boy, I'm trying to think of anything else. Whatever the new Mario is going to be on Switch 2.
Yeah, like
maybe?
a 3D platformer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Odyssey
a Galaxy 2 or a
Galaxy. Yep. Galaxy 3, right? We've had 2 Mario Galaxies.
Yeah. Galaxy 3 would be cool. I loved Galaxies. Those are one of the
Sunshine too.
Few that I finished.
Sunshine 2. Oh my gosh. Can you picture if that was a lineup coming forward? I'll take a
I'm
Galaxy
gonna
and a Sunshine
say
2.
Skate.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we
That
see
thing has
yeah,
been that thing
that
has
makes
been
sense.
floating around in like sign up for early access stuff for like months now. So I'm gonna say Skate.
That's a good call. I like that one.
How about a Skull and Bones pushed update to January 2024?
Oh, I have words on that, but it's got to be off podcast.
Speaking of games, then let's go ahead and talk about the games we played this week and last week. For me, I have Super Mario RPG, Persona 5 Tactica, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
I got all three of those plus the Like a Dragon Man Who Erased His Name. I think that's all I played. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'm going to stick to those four.
You are correct, because I played one that you're forgetting. Like a Dragon Gaiden,
Yep.
RPG, Tactica.
Yep.
Jusant.
Yep. Jusant was one of them. Yep.
I almost said croissant, but Jusant.
Croissant.
I have written down here to let Craig know that I got to the Alan Wake 2 part.
You got it?
I didn't beat it.
You
but
got
I
to
got
the part?
to the part. I did
Which
get
part?
to the part.
Are you talking about the scary part or the not scary part?
The not scary part.
Yes.
Like the entertaining one.
Yes.
So,
all right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Can't ruin it for Barry because that is phenomenal.
I did not beat Alan Wake 2 though.
That's fine.
I just have to make that clear.
You got to the part. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Moment of the year.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So let's see here. Where do we start?
Take your pick. We could start anywhere.
We could do maybe just Game Pass games to us to make it easy.
That works.
Yeah, sure.
Yakuza, Jusant, Croissant.
I keep thinking you guys want to say Gestalt, but that's definitely not what you guys are trying to say. My brain is trying.
It's the rock climbing game.
Yes.
Okay.
It's good.
It's good time.
Go ahead. Good time.
I'll let you go.
So I know when people start feedback or reviews or whatever, they say I walked into this not expecting what I got, and like this is actually the opposite for me. I got exactly what I wanted when in this game. Now, granted, I only have about 2 hours in. The most relaxed this year that I have played any game, I would say would be this particular game. The visuals are fantastic. It kind of just throws you in with very little of any type of backstory, anything for you to care about, except just going up or going left or right in order to go up or down to go up, essentially. So the portion that I was going through was essentially just a very, very tall mountain with a lot of lore buried in there via either written text left behind, notes, diary entries, things like that. And I like it. I like it. It's essentially utilizing the joysticks in tandem with the buttons to climb and reach. It reminded me of whatever those ones on the VR climbing games.
The Climb, isn't it called the Climb?
I'm pretty sure it's just called the Climb, and I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Yep.
But it is essentially trying to make sure that you are grasping, and it becomes a rhythm with your fingers as you're trying to essentially climb and go up and see what's going on. And as it opens up, you do get specific I don't know what you call them, skills. I mean, you have like a friend who gives you skills that allows you to make climbing specific areas that looks like you can't get to more accessible. But it's relaxed. The music is calming. Once you start going up and you look down, it's really cool to kind of see where you've been. I'm not this type of player normally for this type of game. I recommend it to kind of anybody really. And I kind of want to go back to it, but there's just obviously there's so many games, but I don't know, Craig, you could take it from here, but like I recommend it to anybody. It's really good.
Yeah, I keep going back to it in between games when I want to unwind and calm down, because it's just like no enemies. You're just battling your stamina, and that's it. you have the little like you can push your analog sticks in and he'll like shake his hands to get some stamina back.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's just like super chill. You're kind of exploring and trying to figure out like where'd all the people go that were living on the side of this mountain, and you're reading all this stuff. It is like, it reminds me of like unwinding playing Unpacking last year for me, where I was just like, yeah, this is chill. So like in between like rage quitting Modern Warfare and you know what I mean, and like going all out in Yakuza, like just to go back to this every once in a while and just do some more like, oh, I'm gonna climb for another half hour. It's super relaxing.
Yeah.
Super cool game, came out of nowhere. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, those of you who are really taking advantage of your Game Pass and playing, either Like a Dragon, or Persona 5 Tactica, and let's say you get frustrated in either, utilize that quick game mode change and just go to
Yep.
Jusant for an hour. It'll calm you down.
It's great.
It'll calm you down.
You know what won't calm you down? Like a Dragon. Man who erased his name. Dude. All right. I don't know how much you played, Craig.
I'll tell you, so that way you can do the majority of this. I
Okay.
did the opening scene.
Okay.
Those games are great to get you out and give you a big, flashy opening as to who the main character is if you don't know him, or if
Yep.
you do, where he or she is at the moment, mainly he by this point with these games. I got to the city that I've seen 7,000 times, either in Judgment or Lost Judgment, or any of the Like a Dragons or Yakuza or whatever. And I said, you know what? I have to just wait for infinite wealth.
That's
So
fair.
no offense to the game, Craig. I'm going to let you take it away. It was a very nice opening, a good opening
Yeah.
scene with some of the gameplay, which is nice. But I just have to wait for infinite wealth. I need a new plays with these
That's
games.
fair. That's fair. It is the same city. What I appreciate is like when you first start the game, if you played Infinite Wealth, you'll remember at the beginning of the game he ends up homeless, right? And he's like in the homeless area. When you're playing Man Who Erased His Name, there's a point where you come across that area and you're like walking through, and they're literally mentioning like, oh yeah, there's somebody over here that got shot. And it's the dude from Infinite Wealth, and you don't see him, but like you can go up to that house and he'll be like, oh, I probably shouldn't disturb him. But I thought that was cool. What draws me into this game is because yes, it is the same city over and over, is one, the over the top story, which this thing is just over the top insane. They always are. The side quests and the side games are what always draw me in. First thing I do is I run to the arcade and I'm like, let me see what games they put in this time. They have a Sonic fighting game that I've never seen before, which is crazy. But there's one thing, forget the game all around, right? Just forget it, because there's one side game that everybody needs to know about, and it's hilarious.
I know exactly what it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Have you heard about it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me explain. Let me get ready for this. Okay.
I can't wait for this. This is what I've been waiting for.
Okay, here we go. So in all the other games, all of them, one of the side quests you could do is, besides like buying real estate or whatever, is you could go run a cabaret club, right? That was one of the things. And you pick the girls to hire, you go find them on the street, you give them gifts to bring them back, right? And that was part of the game. Now we're flipping it. So after you do like chapter 1, the prologue in chapter 1, one of your missions, as they're trying to introduce you to everything, they're like, hey, go check out this club. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go check out this club. So I go down and I look at the club, and you go in and you do your thing. You're like, hey, pay this much. All right, cool. Now pick a girl. Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll pick a girl. Little did I know that they have completely flipped the script on this. And these are live action filmed Japanese women that you carry on conversations with, build up relationships with, and spend all your money on it, because you better believe I spent all my money on it to get to the 3-star relationship level so you can go home with them. Oh my God, it's incredible. It's hilarious. It's so funny. And everybody should try it. Just play this game just for that. Craig, go back and get to that point and do it. Just do it, because it is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
See how uncomfortable it makes your wife.
Oh.
Like, don't tell her you're doing it. Don't
oh my
tell
God.
her.
Just
Don't.
start the.
It's so good. Thankfully, I am down here in my basement playing this game, but like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like it in my life. You know
Oh
what? I'm
my
putting it on
God.
best moment of the year. I don't even care.
I'm putting on best moment of the year.
But I was so, first of all, I was thrown off when I picked the girl, and then I was like, oh, this is live action. This is filmed.
I'm
And
talking to a girl.
this is, and I know those games exist, right? But like
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
never played those games before. And
Mhm.
as I'm playing it and I'm spending more and more money, I was like, I understand why people play these games now, because this is hilarious.
Yeah.
For me, what kills it is like, where I was dying laughing is like, you can see at least the girl, because there's two girls to choose from to begin with, and I just picked one and stuck with it. You can see into her eyes like the reflection of the ring light in the camera as she's like staring into it. And I was like, oh my God, this is too
Wow.
much. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to answer these questions correctly. Let me make sure I bring her the right gift so that my relationship goes up. And then, oh man, time ran out. I got to go spend another 10,000 yen. Hold on. Got to run to the pawn shop to buy another gift. And also, let me go beat up some dudes so I have more money to buy the expensive liquor, because she likes that liquor particularly. So I have to use that one, all to get to this 3-star relationship status. And let me tell you, when you get to the 3-star relationship status, your reward is not what you think it is. I mean, it's implied, but let's be honest. It's the most awkward video you will ever see in your life, and you have to see it. It's literally like, she's like, hey, would you want to go on a date? So you go on a date, and she's like, hey, we should go back to my place. And it's literally, she's like, hey, take some photos of me in these different outfits. That's literally what you get. And it's so awkward and so hilarious. You guys both have to play it so that you can partake in the wonder that I had. I completely stopped playing this game for like an hour and a half just to get that relationship level up. It was amazing. The game itself is great if you're into that. But that alone, I was like, man, game of the year right here, guys.
Game of the
Game of the
year,
year.
moment of the year,
I understand why
art
you have such
direction
a
of the year.
I understand, Barry, your fascination with the handhold button now.
Yep. Yeah.
I get
It's
it.
just
I get it.
there's just something about it, man.
It
There's just
draws you
something
in.
about yeah.
And there was numerous times when I'm trying to get the relationship up, and I'd be like, dang, I'm out of money. I got to go beat up some guys to get some money.
Gotta get
You
the
know,
old money.
the only thing I can compare it to really is in Fire Emblem Fates, where on the DS,
Mhm.
and it's not the same as the concierge thing, but it would make you
Right.
do ridiculous things like blow into the microphone DS, or the microphone of the
No.
DS, and it
No.
was like it's that level of
Yeah.
hilariousness, but also like this is like funny, stupid, like
Yep.
hilarious
Yep.
that I can't stop, laughing about it. Or
Mhm.
like, or it's the same thing in Fates where like you use the DS pen to pat your significant other's head. Like, stop.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
like I can't imagine what the live action stuff is like, because if it was
Oh my
bad
God.
when
It's
when it
so
was anime
good.
girls, it's
Yep.
gotta be worse here. Like it
It's
has
so
to be.
good. It's incredible. They
I
deserve
can't.
Oscars for pulling that off, staring into a camera with probably like 3 other dudes behind the camera staring back at her.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I just need to not tell my roommate and then just like
Just do
blare
it.
the volume or
Yep.
something like that, and just
Yep.
have my roommate walk down, and be like,
Yep.
what are you
All you
What
gotta
is
doing?"
going on
You only
here?
gotta play, like, maybe an hour and a half to get to that point, and then if you
Yeah.
don't play the game after that, that's fine, but you have to get to that point, because I everybody has to experience that. I was so caught off guard by the live action, I was, like, thrown off my game. I was like, "What?" I was expecting, like, the CGI character who doesn't move in text box. Oh,
Mhm.
no. Oh, no. Incredible. 10 out of 10.
Game of the year.
Game of the year. Best moment of the year, maybe.
Best moment. So long, Alan Wake 2, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man
Yep.
2,
Yep.
Final Fantasy 16,
Resident
and,
Evil,
Resident
Hogwarts.
Evil.
and for Craig, he's just gonna be like underline concierge service in
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
like a dragon man who erased his name.
Do you think, because I have seen some traction online, people talking about it, do you think they would look at that and be willing to be like, you know what if we put out a side game of this?
Most definitely.
because it's Sega
Hands
and like
down.
the Yakuza
Hands down.
series, they lean into that so heavy. I could see them being like, "Quick, go film more of these. We're gonna sell this for $20 on PC, and people are
They
gonna
would
buy it up."
most definitely do that.
Hmm.
There's how can you not, if you want to make the money,
Hmm.
which
With
is literally everybody
DLC
alive.
characters.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
hands down.
Anyway, go play it, please.
Go play it. It's a good game.
Please play it. Please. I can't be the only one.
All right.
What else?
I was gonna
we're
say
doing Game
I'll go
Pass.
into Modern Warfare just because
Yes.
that's
Oh,
older
yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do
than
it.
the last one. All right, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
I'm
To
ready.
put it lightly,
Mhm.
it's a cash grab. It is lazy, is
Yep.
what it is.
It's the worst Call of Duty ever made.
The only, and you might not agree with me on this, Craig, and I completely
Okay.
understand. The only things that I'm having fun with are like the DMZ/zombies type
Yes.
thing. I am having fun with that. It is a cool, refreshing take that I'm enjoying. It's not really difficult, to be fair, but campaign is terrible. I
Terrible.
played 2 missions of campaign and I don't want to touch it. Like I know the ending, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but I just don't want to spend my time on something that clearly they did not care about. And then multiplayer is just the same multiplayer. Like they're really, to me, there isn't that much of a difference other than the fact that at least they let me keep my stuff. Is how I feel about it. Yeah, they redid the maps. They allowed map voting. General there's some general qualities of life to this multiplayer that I am happy that they did. But my issue is that it's just primarily just the same. Like it is
It's lazy.
Yeah. The fact that it's pretty much like they've all they really did, and I don't want to defend them. I do already know they came out and said instead of a typical like 2-year cycle, they had a year and a half to do something. But then I just don't understand why just not okay. Like pull what was it? Was it Black Ops 3 that pulled the no campaign and just multiplayer Warzone? Why just not do that? Like that way you're not tainting what is supposed to be one of the most legendary campaigns in all of Call of Duty, in any first person shooter for that matter. And then on top of that too, you can still do all the crap you want to with Warzone and pull, whatever you want with that, and then keep the DMZ/zombies mode in it, because I am having somewhat fun with that
fun.
mode.
Yeah.
But everything else, like I know I'm gonna play multiplayer more because my friends are gonna be playing Call of Duty multiplayer and zombies. I am just so like, to package this game up and charge $70 for it. That's robbery.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't been this mad at a game since like Fallout 76. It feels like, and everyone knows that I still to this day find a way to mention Fallout 76 at least once a month.
Yep.
Count it.
If it were not for games this year such as Kong and Gollum, this would be my worst game of the year.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. On top of that, like I've probably put in 10 to 15 hours of multiplayer. But here's my issue. It is lazy. I like the old maps. Like that's what brought me in. I was like, oh, I can play all these old maps. My issue is the matchmaking is still bad. Whereas like if you have a good game, guess what? You're about to get absolutely ruined for 10 games in a row. The spawns points are still terrible. And on top of that, I don't know if you've had much experience with this yet, Barry, but the daily challenges are the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's all designed to make you play the game more, right? More playability. But to give you an idea, I was going through the pistols first, and I was like, I'm going to get all the camos for the pistols. One of the challenges for the camos on all the pistols is to get 15 kills with the akimbo attachment, right? When you level it up to max level. Here's the problem. The Renetti specifically pistol, to get the akimbo, in order to unlock it, you have to complete 3 daily challenges. Okay. Now those daily challenges change every day. But when I went to do it, One of my daily challenges was get 5 kills with a Semtex. Guess what? Semtexes are only unlocked with daily challenges, not by your level anymore. So when you look at your unlockables,
I didn't even notice that. I'm gonna have to.
yep.
Oh,
So
I'm gonna have to pay attention.
when you go and look at your unlockables, and I'm talking about kill streaks, attachments for your guns, lethals, tacticals, everything that you would normally unlock by level, about a good 50 to 60% of them are only unlocked by daily challenges.
Wow.
It's
That's a
the most
travesty.
it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, where they're like, all right, well, if you want this specific foregrip for this specific gun, not for all of them, just for this specific gun, you got to go do 3. Sometimes it's 5 challenges, sometimes it's 7, but you only get 3 daily challenges a day. That's it. So you're literally stuck with like, all right, what do I want to unlock next when you first log on for the day? Now, when you finish those 3 daily challenges, every time you win a match, it counts as another daily challenge, which is okay. But the fact that so much of this is locked behind that is just ridiculous to me. It's them trying to prolong how long you play the game before you get that max Spectre camo or whatever it
Yeah,
is that everybody wants, because everybody got it too quick in Modern Warfare 2. That's why they did it. They're like, oh man, because like I that's the first time in my life I got the max camo was Modern Warfare 2. And I think it took me like probably 2 days of playtime. It's the
yeah,
most I've ever played a Call of Duty game. But this would probably take you like 10 to 15 days of playtime. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, like I still might consider it for worst game of the year, even though I probably put in 20 hours already.
yeah,
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's nothing but money for them. That's literally all they care about. So I would like to say that I'm like, all right, I'm done with Call of Duty, but you know how that goes. It's like
yeah,
2K.
yeah,
But yeah, don't buy this game. Don't buy it.
yeah. It feels like betrayal to a lot of like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like good momentum that we've had for Call of Duty. What feels like good momentum, at least,
Mm-hmm.
has kind of just been washed away with all one fatal swoop here.
Think how
Um,
weird it would be if it went from our game of the year last year to one of the worst games this year.
yeah, yeah, and I think a part of it has to deal with too is does Call of Duty need to finally start getting and it's starting to be in that list where the yearly sports games that
Mm-hmm.
continuously
Yep.
are upsetting and are continuously little work done to them, blah blah blah. At least the sports games have an excuse of having a 1 year development time,
Yep.
where Call of Duty at least had a year and a half to get
Mm-hmm.
this right. Regardless, I didn't realize that with challenges. I'm gonna have to take a closer look
It's
because
real
now
bad.
that is that. Luckily, I've just been okay with zombies as of late, so I think
Yeah.
luckily,
No, the zombies is good. That's the
yeah,
saving grace. It's fun.
yeah, I've enjoyed this fresh take of it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be playing Call of Duty, but not
You'll be hating it.
yeah, I guess. But it'll be one of those games again where like you can play any game with friends and it'll be fun.
Yep.
It's one of those games where like it's a bad game, but I'm playing with my friends, so I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about another game that's kind of underwhelming as a segue, which is Super Mario RPG
Barry
for
says
me.
it's underwhelming,
Okay.
everybody.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I don't know if you were going to say Tactica or RPG.
No, I'm biased toward Tactica, to be fair. Like you put Persona 5 and like Fire Emblem type tactics into a game, that it pretty much spells Barry
It
if
was
you look
made for
at
Yeah,
it.
you.
it
Yeah.
Yeah.
was made for you.
So regardless, we're not talking about that yet. Super
Yes.
Mario RPG,
Mhm.
a remake of an older game that I have no affinity for because I never played it. I'm too young, I guess is the word
Mhm.
for it, to have played it. Like like the meme, like kind of like the meme where nah, it's all right. It's kind of like
Yep.
the meme,
Yep.
the meme I feel with it. Story, like I don't get what I'm doing. Like the story is not in a turn-based RPG. There needs to be some sort of gripping portion or story or something that I need to get into. I'm just not getting that right now. And the combat, as of like, there's some nuances to it that I guess I like. With the pressing the button to either block or power up your attack at the right time, finding the weakness for certain enemies is good. It's just a matter of I'm just playing it mindlessly. I'm not in it like I want to
Mhm.
be. And I feel like I'm either missing something because I never played the original, or I'm not far enough because I, don't know what to think of the story so far. But it's one of these things where, again, there's so many other games vying for my attention right now. If you don't grab me within the first 2 hours of it, what is my reason for staying if I have no affinity or personal,
Right.
affection toward it?
I when did the original game come out?
It was
Or
on
what did it
Super
come out
Nintendo.
for?
Super
Super
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Good
Okay,
question. I
so
can give you a year in a second.
Yep.
while you're looking that up, Barry, if it is Super Nintendo or any
Mhm.
type of thing around that year, I'm going to essentially agree with you and then use this phrasing: the Super Nintendo is showing.
Mhm.
Now, I know that the accessibility and all of that, there's apparently, if you played the original game, some things that did get ironed out that are making original fans,
1996.
There you go.
1996, cheer for the heavens. When I started the game,
I was a year and a half old, just so we're all aware.
there you go. When
That
I
was too.
started that game, I was like, what am I doing? Because
Mhm.
there was not, it was like Peach was gone in 30 seconds.
Dude, that intro is wild. It feels like you missed something.
It
Yeah.
does. I thought we
Yeah.
started, yeah, I thought we
Yep.
started like, I thought I did something wrong. Or
Mhm.
I was like, is this the beginning of the game? Or is this like,
Yeah, did I skip? What is happening? Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And then you just get plopped in and they kind of explain certain mechanics and then they don't on others. And then you just kind of have to care. Like
Mhm.
it has to formulate like out of nowhere with the gameplay
Yep.
and the navigation of what you're actually doing. So like I'm with you, Barry. You could clearly see it reminds me of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, certain Sega games that
Yep.
just start and then
Yep.
you're playing and then you're like, okay. And that was fine at that time.
Mhm.
When I started Paperboy and I realized that my job was paperboying,
Mhm.
and when the game just started and I was on a bike and I was trying not to die from the overly aggressive and violent neighbors and everything else in that neighborhood, I realized that that was it. That was the game. That's how those games were in that time frame. But when
Right.
I started with a cup of coffee on a random morning, and I'm just trying to understand or get invested in something like the other game that we will be talking about right after this, it didn't do it for me. Like I'll probably play it, but I'll probably play it out of what you said, Barry, which is kind of like just mindlessly playing it. And that's how the gameplay made me feel. It's how the story kind of made me feel. No offense to the game itself, it was revolutionary for the time,
Right.
but
Yeah, I think you have to look at it like I played it on Super Nintendo. I never beat it, but like I have played it. You have to look at the time it came out, and you're coming off of the Final Fantasies on NES that were super basic. You had like Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo at the time. Um, it was a RPG that was accessible for everybody because it had Mario, and you were still kind of running around like a Mario game. And at the time, it was kind of like, what a Mario RPG? Who does that? And it was just something different. But it is showing its age, even though it's been like upgraded. And you're like, oh, it looks pretty.
it looks
Um,
pretty good.
yeah, but it is super basic at its core. Like it is super, super basic. Like you're almost better off if you want a game like that to go play. What was the other one that came out for Switch? Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're better off playing that because that's a better Mario RPG. But this is the original, right? Like this is the Super Mario RPG. This was it. And they're pretty faithful to what I can remember playing in the beginning, where it just throws you in and you're like, okay. And back then, besides Final Fantasy, you didn't really have story. You just had, oh no, Princess Peach is gone. Uh-oh. Go get her. All the toads want you to go get her. But I think looking back on it, people like it because there's characters that got introduced that you never saw again that people have an affinity for. I think you could plop some of those guys into Smash Bros and it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's like if you don't have that nostalgia and it was like, oh my god, this is one of my favorite games growing up, you probably don't need to buy it because you're not gonna. I highly doubt you're gonna play it and be like, oh man, this is awesome. You're
I
probably all gonna have the same idea.
Yeah, I think that was where my confusion was. I think when I started the game, forgot the timeline
Mm-hmm.
and essentially should be thanking this game because this is how Paper Mario
Right.
ended up flourishing. And and when I started it, I think I was expecting something that made me feel the way Paper Mario made me feel the first time I played it.
Right.
Because I was blown away by that game and what it was able to do, which is why why I'm excited for Thousand Year Door whenever that comes out down the line. So that being said, I think you make a valid point. I still agree with the mindlessness aspect that Barry you presented because that's how I felt when I was playing it. I was just button mashing and and timing, timing when the things were hitting me or when I were hitting them to build up my meter on the left so that I could just get the Toad prize or whatever the ultimate was. But, in perspective, it is nice to pay homage playing this game because this eventually did give them the template for what Paper Mario ended up being. So when you think about it that way, that is a good way of thinking about it. But I don't know how far I'm going to get through it myself.
To be fair, I think if you were to get a remaster of Final Fantasy 3 nowadays, like Barry, you never played Final Fantasy 3, right?
You're correct.
I think you'd probably feel the same way. You'd probably like it better than Mario RPG, but I still feel like you'd kind of be like, this is it. You know what I mean? It's just that time frame of RPG, and that's what we got, and that's what we liked. Because we didn't know any better until Final Fantasy 7 came out. Yeah. And we're like, oh, this is what an RPG can be. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, it's fine. Am I going to play through the whole thing? We'll see. I also have been kind of playing it mindlessly, like hit the A button a million times.
Yep.
That's all I'm doing. But go on to the good game.
I was going to say a game that requires a little bit more thought.
Does it?
Persona 5
it definitely
Tactica.
Does.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Let's go.
So Persona 5 Tactica, it's kind of weird how this is like a yin and yang and both of these games come out on the same day. At least for my personal experience, I have an affinity to Persona 5, as does Craig over here. Craig's played more Persona 5 than I have. I'll give him his due there. Played multiple Persona. If you think about it, and let's give Craig his due here. If you think about each time you play Persona, it's 100 hours. More than likely, he's played it once. He's not only played it twice. You've played it 3 times, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, this is where you get close to the mic. Yes, I have.
Hours, ladies and gentlemen.
You're probably approaching my Final Fantasy 7 playing time.
Yeah. Do you know when you have that awkward person in the courtroom and the judge asks a question and the person doesn't know mic rules, so they get really close and they're just like, yes, that's correct. That's how I felt when you were like, you played it 3 times. Yes, that's true, Your Honor.
And just so people have a little bit of math, because I'm bringing out the math, I'm bringing out the calculator here. 300 hours, and let's say you played for 24 hours a day. He had to have played Persona, the franchise, for a total of 12 and a half days.
That's not including the other games.
Exactly. I'm not even including what he did with Strikers or how much time he's put into Tactica so far.
Or 4 or 3.
Yeah.
2.5 with Strikers.
2.5 with Strikers and
2.5
now 4.
times or 2.5 hours? Oh dear.
2.5. I finished the game twice and I played it again this year. Probably got halfway through. More than halfway through, actually.
How long Strikers?
I thought I liked this series too. You just blow me out of the water.
Strikers is 40 to 50 hours, depending on content that you play.
Okay.
They actually did a good job.
So another 100 hours, at least, probably 125, maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
In Strikers, plus 4 and 3. Persona 4 Golden, right?
I did play Golden this year.
And then you're going to play 3 when it comes out.
I will, Your Honor.
Anyway, he's played it a lot. This is why he doesn't finish games.
Yeah, he's guilty as charged, ladies and gentlemen. This man is guilty.
Stop playing the same game.
Persona 5.
Branch out. Finish Alan Wake. Jeez.
I know.
What do you think of Tactica?
I like it. I I had to put the snob aside because the only
Mm,
thing I was snobbish about, it's not the tactical gameplay because I do like that. I'm an XCOM fan. You know, and I obviously Super Mario, those tactic games as well. I
You mean
The
Mario versus
story
Rabbids?
happened to
yeah, Mario vs. Rabbids.
yeah, rabbits, sorry, plus rabbits. The story happened way fast for me into how they ended up in the plight that they did, but I
Yeah.
also liked that. It was weird. I liked it and I hated it because every Persona 5 variation usually makes you for an hour just watch what's going on
Mm-hmm. Oh,
before
it still makes you.
participating. Yeah. Um I like Arena. Sorry, I said Irina. Sorry, that's the normal way of saying that name. Or I'm used to more Irenas, but I like Arena. I like the introduction of her character. I do like the gameplay. It does remind me of a Mario plus Rabbids style.
Don't you mean
I
Fire Emblem?
and Fire Emblem. Well, like Fire Emblem, this is the thing that I'm struggling with in terms of Persona 5 storytelling. Is there is a lot of you got a back and forth kind of thing where the characters arrive on screen, things are said, funny jokes are made with minimal movement, almost a puppeteering type of thing.
Visual
That's
novel.
what I had to get over because that reminds because like there's not, at least as far as I got, and it's not as open actioned progression in terms of the
Mm.
story as I'm used to. It took me a second, but now I'm with it. If that does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly? I know
I
you
get
both
what
of you
you're
played
saying.
it, so you know what I'm talking about, but I want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I communicate it directly or effectively. But that's the only thing I had to get over. It took me a half hour, 45 minutes. Now I'm in it. That's what I struggled with as a Persona 5 asseur instead of a connoisseur.
You're a super fan.
I'm a
This
Yeah.
super fan.
Can Barry? Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
From my take on this game.
Yes.
Persona 5, like I've played Persona 5. I didn't beat Persona 5, but I put a decent amount of time into that game.
You've tried, and I've given you a
Yes.
valiant effort on it.
The characters are in high school, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Typical like Japanese anime style high school characters are inherently slightly sexualized, correct?
Sometimes, yeah. In Persona 5's case, there is definitely the stuff
A
with
little bit.
On,
Right.
particularly.
A little bit.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
with on, but
That the only knock I have against this game pertains to that, in that when you put them in like this chibi form, it feels kind of gross.
yeah, which
Personally.
I mean, it's an interesting take because, like,
Yeah.
theoretically, like Makoto's supposed to be is more prim and proper, so is
Right.
Haru,
Right.
and you know they
That
they
was
have
my
they
only
have their
thing.
beach scenes.
That
Yeah.
was my only thing. I was like, it just feels kind of weird because, like, you're taking what I remember the Persona characters looking like. I'm like, yeah, that's typical anime style drawn. It looks beautiful, but now you've made them like these chibi characters that look like they're almost. I know they're not children, but they look like they're kind of children, and but
Mhm.
they're still keeping
I see.
that
I see what you
same
mean.
like, hey, this girl over here with in the tight red spandex now looks like a kid in tight red spandex. I'm like, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's a little weird, but the game's
Eh,
fun. You
yeah,
know,
it's Japanese for you.
it's definitely
Yeah.
Japanese for sure. But anyway,
Um,
that's it.
who has the most hours played? Barry, would you say you played the most?
No, you guys have.
I think I have
Okay.
like 2 hours, 2.5, maybe.
Here's the question that I have for the three of us, depending on how much more we play, is like I'm waiting for the open up because I tried my best not to look up anything about this game. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's 40 hours or 4 million because it's an Atlas game.
I heard
But
40.
like I'm still in Save Your Friends,
Same.
and this is not a spoiler alert. It kind of is, but it happens in like the first half hour, 40 minutes of the game.
How
So,
many of you saved?
um, all of them? Did I
Oh,
save all of
I've
them?
only saved 2,
N-
so you're farther than me.
Okay, yeah, I've saved all of them.
Okay.
And I'm at the post portion of that. So
Okay.
I'm wondering if the curtain opens up where they're like,
It will.
okay,
It will. The main thing to realize or recognize that it's not going to hit the same emotional beats as, or I should say feats, as Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. this game being a little bit shorter isn't going to give you that same feeling of sitting on the couch watching the credits roll and wondering what you do with your life from now on. And Craig knows exactly what I mean.
I know that. I know that feeling.
Like finishing that game, you feel like a part of you has just died. I know I'm being dramatic, but it's true.
Yeah.
At least for me, both times I beat that game, I felt like a part of me was like breaking up with a girlfriend of 100 hours.
Yeah.
That I just
They feel like you're friends while you play that game. They
Yeah.
really do.
It's
They
not
do.
gonna feel like that here, and
Mm.
like you've played the other game, you've played all the Persona games, blah blah blah. You understand it. It's just a matter of the emotional beats are going to hit. They're not going to hit as hard.
Yeah.
From what I know of the later portions of the game.
You know what hits just as hard though?
The music.
That soundtrack, baby.
Yeah.
Atlas, keep making games, please.
Yeah, who's
Please.
the composer on that? Do we know?
It's probably Lynn,
Okay.
who's in literally everything. She's the voice that you hear.
She's the voice person.
Well, she's
Give
the
me one
voice.
second
Sorry, not the
as
composer, technically.
Right.
as I
Game's
look
good
it
though.
up,
While you
it's
look
gonna-
that up, like for somebody who doesn't like that style of game and also is like on Persona, I'm enjoying it. I just get kind of like antsy where I'm like, let me play the game, because it's always like I get the idea of do a mission, go back to the hideout, talk to your friends at the hideout to get more experience points to level up your characters, go on your mission. But my problem with what I've played so far is do the mission, go back to the hideout, talk to the characters, level up, get all my equipment ready, hit next mission, and then I also have to keep going back and talking because that next mission still has me talking. I'm like, oh my god, just let me play. I get it.
Yeah.
But like, let me play.
I've made a habit.
I was gonna say I do kind of like how the missions are like 5-minute segments, to whereas Fire Emblem I could take a whole 30 to 45 minutes
For real.
going through one map. I do enjoy the fast pace or the more frequent breaks.
Okay.
I should say, between all of the missions.
Okay.
Also the Velvet Room, they have subsidized a lot. Part of the Atlas thing is that you could spend 40 minutes in the Velvet Room trying different combinations. I like that they subsidized it a little bit more and made it so like you can just like they did this in Strikers to some degree, where there's only specific personas that you can make at specific levels to make it a little bit easier. In Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, it's literally a notepad and 40 minutes when you really get into it. So like for somebody like you, Craig, who just wants to get to the action, I like that they did that there because it's a get back into the Tactica part of it instead of sitting there being like, oh man, what should I make? You know, like everybody has a specific persona that they have, and then you can attach a sub persona that kind of opens up some class.
They're just Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. So I like what they did for accessibility for everybody, and not just people who like Persona games.
Right.
And the composer's name, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, is Toshiki Konishi.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir.
Well,
I'm sorry, sir. I probably butchered your
I'm
name.
gonna have to send them a cornucopia.
They make some great music.
It's
really
great.
Do. Yep.
I also do like that the nods to the old game, even though they're in a completely different world. You know, it is kind of nice just having just the nods back, like where your home base is, which I don't even know if I want to ruin that for Persona 5. Did we even talk about where the home base is? But
I like the villain. She's cool.
She's cool. That's what I'm asking. That's the question I have about opening up, and this is the last very very small rant. Is the Persona 5 algorithm, is this person's crappy, let's go steal their heart. This person's crappy, let's go steal their heart. Is this the main villain? Because if I get past this saving friends part and then it opens up and she's just the first villain, then I know my December's taken. Like that's what I want to know. Like, am I having like December 14th, this game is over? Or am I like playing this Christmas morning still? And I'm like, and I have like 3 negative people whose hearts I've changed or who I have vanquished. That's what I want to know as a super fan.
Fair enough. I liked her though. I thought she was a cool. If she is opening villain, I just thought she was interesting.
Yeah,
Her
the
wedding
wedding.
dress, it's cool.
She's just perpetually
She
planning
just
her
wants to
wedding.
get married. That's all. What's wrong with that?
It's a good one.
That's all.
It is a good one.
Movies and TV shows. Then we'll go ahead
Yeah.
and move into that portion of things.
Oh, yeah, I just
Yep.
realized where we are.
I don't have much to say about either of the or about any of the stuff I've watched, so we'll get into it once we share. I've watched Gran Turismo,
Yes.
Gen V.
Yes.
I finished Scavengers Reign
Okay.
and Blue Beetle.
Oh, okay. You're on a roll. I wrote down the ones that I remembered. I watched Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Got that. I watched The Creator, and then finished season 2 of Loki.
Okay. So 2 of these Craig has already reported on, so I'll just give very quick 1-minuters on it. But I watched No Hard Feelings, None 2,
Okay.
and I also finished Gen V, and or at least what the season. And Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I started.
Yes. My daughter watched the entire Scott Pilgrim today.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
The whole thing.
I can definitely see why.
I watched the
Definitely.
first episode, but yeah, she was watching it all day.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground this
We
week.
have.
Then,
Yeah,
so
we have.
let's talk about some of the older movies that Craig has already watched. I'll go
I'm
into my
excited.
2. Gran Turismo.
Yes.
As you mentioned, a movie that has no real
None.
reason to be as good as it is. I really enjoyed. There are some corny moments, of course.
Mhm.
And some stuff that if you're a PlayStation 5 guy, you realize that every time he puts up his place, it's a PS5 startup sound. Well, not
Mhm.
startup sound, it's the quick menu portion of things.
Boop.
But when the movie's not being really corny, it's actually pretty good. I really like David Harbour's character in this
Yep.
movie. He's fun, he's caring, and just getting into the whole racing aspect of things, like it gives me a newfound respect for racing. And the fact that this stuff actually happened, it's just kind of like, wow, cool retrospective here. I think everybody does a really good job. I also think, Orlando Bloom did not need to go like as hard as he did for his supporting actor role, but I think he did really well.
Yeah.
And just overall, like Gran Turismo, again, I'm happy I own the movie just because it is a fun movie that again, people could watch and be like, wow, I enjoyed that. I was watching this movie with my dad and he was like, oh, this is good. I was like,
How
yeah,
did it sound?
sounded really good.
Oh yeah.
I will admit I'm one of the people that I'm afraid of getting kicked out by my shared neighbors. So I
Fair.
don't play it as loud as I want to.
Okay.
So
You should play that movie loud like one time though.
Early
I
afternoon.
need to do it in like the middle of the day where I'm not getting,
Mhm.
I'm not going to get kicked out of my apartment or something like that.
Right.
And then Blue Beetle, it will be the next one I go into. I was surprised by Blue Beetle. I liked it. A lot of stuff here for a person of Spanish heritage like myself. They kind of nail the whole family aspect. Um, Again, this movie also has some corny moments in it as well, but I don't know much about Blue Beetle, but I really like you know, and I didn't realize it's one of those things where his suit can create whatever he imagines, and he pretty much imagines a Buster Sword
Mhm.
from Final Fantasy VII, a Mega Man, Mega Buster at that point as well. But it's not like blatant to where it looks weird, or it's like done in universe, so I feel like it doesn't look bad or corny or anything like
Yeah, but
that.
wouldn't you do the same thing if it was you? I would.
Absolutely,
I would.
absolutely.
Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, 100%.
Kratos' blades of chaos. Like, man, I'd
Oh
be
my god, yeah.
I'd be all
Yep.
over the place with those things.
Sora's
So,
Keyblade.
Oh
Sora's
yeah.
that's not really a practical weapon. I'll be completely honest with everyone here, but it's definitely meant to bash the living heck out of something. So,
True.
yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Just surprised overall. Blue Beetle's there, and like with everything going on with Marvel right now and how everybody's upset and how Marvel seems to be doing a 360 right now on everything they're doing, I feel like DC is kind of heading in a right direction. I know all this stuff is made before James Gunn's first Superman Legacy comes out here. But overall, like, they're fun, dumb superhero movies, and that's what I like about them. They are, how should I say it, predictable, but not in a bad way. I know what I'm in for with these movies.
Yeah, that's fair.
Good call.
You guys want to go into any of your stuff?
Yeah, I'll just do the other Craig ones that Craig has
They're just my movies now.
Yeah, they're yours.
Nun 2, I know we're in November. Nun 2, better than the first one in my eyes. A nice expanded aspect. I think it has better jump scares as well. And it makes the Nun entity a little bit more like an unstoppable evil to me, which is what I kind of want from something like that. I know it's a big universe, the Conjuring universe, and they do the Easter egg nods back to the other
I feel like we're
portions
talking
of that
about a
universe, but
Conjuring universe.
It is the Conjuring universe. Yep.
yeah, they have their own universe. They have
Mhm.
enough between Annabelle, Conjuring themselves, even with the recent Devil Made Me Do It, like they have enough where they have a universe, which is, it's weird to say. My wife and I just watch enough people commenting on scary movies to know that there is a Conjuring universe. But Nun 2, if you like the first Nun, I think that you'll like this one better. It's very good. Craig hit all the major points when he initially talked about it, which go back to that episode. Um,
That was a good job, Craig. Good job, Craig.
Yeah.
Well done.
Another episode you should go back to, unless he said it in the same episode, is when Craig mentioned No Hard Feelings. Jennifer Lawrence, this is I am always been a medium to above average Jennifer Lawrence fan. I would lean more towards above average. Not my favorite actor or actress. Do we say actress still, or is it just, are we all actors now?
I think you just call them actors. Yeah.
But she's never been my favorite, but I have liked things that has been in. I loved her as Mystique. That's for some reason the first most in recent memory. I haven't seen some of her more artistic pieces. Like, wasn't she in that Playbook one with what's his name? I forget.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings. Like, I haven't seen those kind of things. There's things that I won't watch or are not necessarily going to see. This one is great. It's just her raw comedy. It's very just, don't watch with your grandma.
You could say raw dogging. It's appropriate, I think, for the comedy of this film.
Oh,
yeah, and like what is funny is I was taken aback by the nude scene, but then my wife and I were cracking up at it.
So good.
It's just such a good, and I heard did she fight for that nude scene? I'm sure
she did.
She fought for it.
She said it would be funny.
If you go back to the Craig episode, he does mention this.
That's what he did. He did mention that, and in the same way that Ryan Reynolds fought for the Deadpool costume after the filming was over. Like, I will not leave here, in a way. So knowing that information and going into that movie, because I'm pretty sure if I did not remember that, I subconsciously remembered it from when Craig reported it. It made the scene all the better. It's just straight up comedy. She's just naked in the comedy. It's great. It's and there's a great relationship between her and, I'm forgetting the gentleman, the actor's name, who she's essentially kind of courting / teaching how to be courted or to court. But I recommend it as a comedy film. I recommend it as something that you can watch in a group setting by yourself with a significant other. It's gonna be one of my favorite Jennifer Lawrence films for a long time, and I think it's just because of how just no holds barred. Doesn't matter. She doesn't care what she looks like, what she's throwing up or eating, or what instance. There's a lot of what would be embarrassing moments to a normal human, and just for her to act the hell out of that is what I really respect from her. So go watch it.
Yeah,
and those are my Craig movies.
in case you don't understand the word courting, as we are a new and hip podcast, the whole point of them and what he means by courting is she attempts to riz him up and also attempts to teach him riz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done. See, this is
for a
it
car.
helps to have somebody from the younger generation on the podcast to explain what the two Craigs are trying to tell the younger generation. Well
Yes.
done. Well done.
I
I
am
am-
the translator. I am the
Mhm.
bridge.
I am crossing out courting and I'm putting Riz
Rizzing.
there, underlined.
She is the Riz-inator.
Yes.
And he is, I don't know what you would call the receiver of the Riz, but that is what he is. Yeah.
The receiver
The
of the
Riz
Riz.
receiver.
of
The Riz
the Riz.
receiver.
The receiver. I
You've
like
done
it.
it. You did it yourself there.
You
You just
did
had
do
to
it.
put it together.
The Riz-ceiver.
The Riz receiver.
It was in my mind, but I was like, that can't be right. That sounds weird.
That
The
can't be
receiver.
right.
That sounds like a joke that Craig would say. That's
It
a
does.
receiver.
The
Oh my
Riz
God.
receiver.
Oh my God.
Whew.
That was good. Anyway.
I almost don't. I don't think we need to go into anything else. I'm afraid like we're on too much of a high right now
Yep.
from that to even
Too
go
much
further.
Riz.
We're gonna do it though. We're gonna fight through it.
Yeah, what do we have left?
I have to talk about Scavengers Reign,
Yes.
Reign, the finale. IGN, just so you guys are aware, gave this series a 10. It is one of the few things I've seen. It really nails the ending. Just leaves you with a ton of questions, with more answered as well. I am so happy I hyped on this train of this show. If anything, IGN's copying me. I know they are. I know they listen to the podcast. I know they heard me rave about Scavengers, and then they watched it. They're like, "Crap, he's right."
Quick, put out
This-
a 10
this-
out of 10.
Yeah, the one of the best sci-fi series I've ever watched.
Okay.
And again, I'm not sure about the problems you had, Craig, with like the microphone sounding stuff. I've at least been able to listen, hear everything very clearly. I really do adore this, and it's one of those like sleeper hits I never expected to fall in love with as much as I have. Hits the emotional scenes well, and also in a world where everything seems to be predictable right now, this is one of those shows where it's not. So, and that's what I really appreciate about it. Absolute watch. I hope more people watch it.
Yeah, I don't seem like hear anybody talking about it besides IGN. Just it definitely under the radar.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes also has it as a high ranking. It's one of those things. I think it's because it's animated.
Yeah.
Probably. It's labeled as adult animation, and it's only on Max. Probably the least subscribed to thing, other than some of the other offshoots of Discovery Plus or the thing I use the least is Hulu, to be honest. But regardless, it's one of those things where I feel like the platform is failing it, and I really hope that it overcomes this and gets another season. Because it can, and it can get another season.
It should. Let me jump on your underrated sci-fi. You ready for this?
Yep. Yeah.
Underrated sci-fi movie. The Creator.
Okay.
I'm excited to see that. I should have seen it in theaters.
Same. So the trailer came out a while ago, and I was like, "Oh, that looks interesting," because I'm a sucker for original sci-fi, right? Not like a sequel, nothing. But then I never heard anything about it. And I don't even remember seeing it in theaters. I'm sure it was, but like it skipped my mind because it was on my list of like I want to go see this in theaters. So I did watch it. This might be one of the best movies I've seen this year, honestly. To me, when I'm watching this movie, and don't take this the wrong way because I like Avatar, but this is to me what Avatar should be, if that makes sense. Okay. At its core, I mean, when you take and look at the story, it's pretty basic. You have machines, you have humans. The machines at the beginning, they kind of explain it all. Like the machines drop a nuke on the humans. So the humans hate the machines and they're trying to destroy the machines. But there's also a portion in Asia of humans that live with the machines peacefully. So you have that conflict of like humans are coming over to destroy all the machines. And it all centers around a weapon that the machines have built, which is basically a small child machine that can control things. John David Washington is the main character. If you know him, he's fantastic in the movie. And just the dynamic between him and this younger machine who's played by, I had to look her up, Madeline Voiles. She's fantastic. It's such an incredible and just different movie. I love fresh takes on stuff, and I don't think anybody watched this movie, and they really should have. I even looked on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's at like a 60 something. It
Okay.
deserves to be a lot higher than that. The visuals are absolutely gorgeous. Being able to pull off like that, like futuristic look and still be grounded in reality at the same time is incredible. I would put some of these shots, honestly, up against some of the shots in Avatar. Like they're just beautiful to look at. Incredibly well done movie. Everybody needs to watch this movie 100%. I'll be buying it on 4K day one. Yeah, it's probably gonna end up in my top 10 or maybe
It
even
should be
top 5.
soon.
Yeah, it should be
Hopefully.
soon
Okay.
because it's on. I rented it on digital.
Okay.
Yeah, it might make top 5. Honestly, it came out of nowhere, and I saw it on digital. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that movie, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it. So glad I did. My wife said the same thing. She's like, man, I didn't think I would like that movie, but it was really well done. It's one of her favorite movies of the year too.
Okay.
So 100% check that out. I just wanted to tie that into your sci-fi there.
No,
That's a good call.
absolutely. And I really think you need to tell me next is my movie Oppenheimer. I think I need to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so
What is my
Oppenheimer, the short version is I feel like I watched a 3-hour TED Talk.
Yes.
Is that a fair way to
Yeah.
explain the movie?
Yeah. I would agree with that.
It has its moments, and like, to be honest, like I had it on my iPad while I was building a Lego set because I was like, if I just sit here and watch this movie, I'm gonna
That's
zone
funny.
out.
That's good.
So, but
That's
I
good.
mean, the way it's set up is like cut between their hearing that they're having, and it
Yep.
cuts back and forth, and I'm like, I literally feel like I'm in a history class,
Yeah.
being taught about Oppenheimer. Not that that's a bad thing. You can do that, and like I was entertained. Do I think it's a good movie? I think it's overrated. Personally, I don't think it deserves like, oh my god, this is a movie of the year. Meh, it's fine. Am I ever gonna watch it again? No. Not a chance. I'm not gonna buy it. No, I don't need to watch it. One and done. For me, I'm glad I watched it to learn about it because I learned a lot of stuff. But I felt like I was back in high school, honestly. Is that
like,
fair?
Yeah, it's all a fair assessment of the movie. I will personally say I probably will buy it.
Okay.
Just because the director, what is his name? It's
Is it
is it a Spielberg
on.
movie? Is that what it is?
No, it's not Spielberg. It's where are you? Christopher Nolan.
Sorry, Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
He has been so outspoken about all the work that they've put into the 4K release. That I just have to support it as someone who buys all of his stuffs physically still, like pretty
Right.
much. Unless it's not available to me physically. I need to support this film. I feel like I have to. All of the work they said they put into it, I believe he's put a lot of work into it. And again, like this will be one of those movies that I have a feeling like my dad will be like, "Let's watch this," and I'll be like, "Okay," and then I'm just gonna play on my Switch while we're hanging out.
I enjoyed the amount of people that kept popping up in the movie. I was like, oh look. I'm gonna go on record and saying that not necessary the amount of nudity for no reason in that movie. It's so awkward at times.
It is. Yeah, it is pretty.
And like I get what they're going for, but like there's that long extended scene where they're talking, they're both just sitting there naked, and I'm like, this
that's the scene I
weird.
was gonna point to weird.
Yeah,
As
weird.
well. It's just kind of like, okay.
You could have done
guess.
it with clothes on, and it would have made no difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird choice to me.
Well, I think it's one of these things where Nolan is this weird actor where it's like they're vulnerable and they don't have their clothes on. It's how
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, showing how intimate they were with each other, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I think everybody could watch it once and be fine. I think it's a story worth knowing about. It's important in our history.
Oh, most definitely. That definitely. Yeah.
But once you watch it once, you're good. It's not something you're going to watch every year.
Absolutely. So let's see here. Other than that, I'm just trying to think. Craig and I both watched Gen V, and what was the other thing you
I
watched,
had
Craig?
Loki,
I
Loki.
yeah, and
I
then
tried to
and
I
you
tried
had
to
one
start
too,
that
right?
up.
yeah, I
Craig?
had Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Scott Pilgrim. Yep.
All
Give me
right.
Gen
Well,
V.
I was gonna say, speaking of taking off, um, Gen V.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised at how much I like this series as well.
Same.
Against the boys. Oh, I like it because it's a fresh start on these
Yep.
characters. Definitely some sort of like twisting that they do because like we know what Billy Butcher's going to do. Like
Yeah.
that's what he does. Sort of in Huey, we know what he does. This world is a little bit more expanded upon. Um, and I like that. One of the things that I guess is they're kind of disconcern for not only dismemberment but a lot of this other stuff here too. Uh, like early on, the whole scene where she's small and
Yep.
uh, like that was a scene, I guess. I get that they're like I get what they're setting up for that character later in the series here, but it was just like one of those things where I probably didn't need it or didn't need all the nudity, I guess sometimes, but
Yeah.
like they don't
Yep.
care. Like
Yeah, they don't.
they and I should have expected it with some with the boys, creators here.
Yeah.
But just overall, a really enjoyable series. I like all the twists and turns it takes, and I just like how it's like we're focusing on kind of the what college life would be like if
Yeah.
if people had superpowers, and some people were based on how useful they are or how like entertaining they are, I guess is kind of the
Yeah.
difference there. And it just plays into the social political ploy as well, which I kind of like as well. So
Y- Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there because it kept what we like about the boys, which is the social aspect in tandem with what superheroes are actually doing versus like if they want the likes or the masses or if they actually want a superhero. And like the school mimics that. You have the people who are literally trying to make the seven or who are like going the entertainment movie star influencer route. And I like, and this doesn't ruin anything because I won't say who, but like I just like that it starts off with a death. Like the series starts off with a death, it throws it at you, and then you pick up the pieces with the characters on the screen.
yeah,
With those students who all are just a hodgepodge. Some of them were already friends or at least social circle people, but like how everybody kind of comes together to fight the larger evil that you learn about later on in the series.
yeah,
Um,
I think to the mystery portion of things is not something they've dipped their toe into too much in the boys,
They
but
Scooby
kind of
Doo it.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
Scooby
exactly,
Doo it.
yeah,
They Scooby Doo it, and it becomes something large to the point where 2 episodes, 3 episodes from the end of the season, you're like, oh, okay, I'm nervous for all of these people now
Yep.
because the boys or this universe doesn't hold anything back. Somebody can die. It's the same thing in like Game of Thrones. You like them, they might die.
Mhm.
So you're still worried about the characters and such like that. And the humor's there,
Yep.
and they do specific takes where one episode or two are dedicated to a specific style of film of how they're filming the episode as well, which is great as well. um, it's classic, and I can't wait for the next installment, to be
And
honest with you. I
a
can't wait.
fantastic way to end the season to tie it into the boys.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I was like,
Oh
that
my
was well done.
god.
Also,
Oh
I
my
think
god.
I was on board with the fact that if you take people with superpowers and they're all college age, none of them are going to be good people. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Like, not a single character in the show is a good person. Not one.
No.
They all do something bad at some point.
Yes, they do.
They're college age. They're all going to do that. I
we're
sound like an
Yeah,
old
it's
stupid.
good.
man. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're figuring out their not only their lives but their superpowers at the same time. Of course, they're going to take advantage to get popular or get ahead or do whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. It was cool. Great show.
Great show.
All right.
Um, Let me just say this: Loki season 2. I know you said you tried to watch it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I was trying to like get further and almost finish it today. But my soundbar kept cutting out and I just got
Oh,
furious and stopped. So I just watched football instead.
okay.
Um
Let me say, there's a lot of turmoil going around with the Marvel universe right now, and like, are they going to move away from Kang the Conqueror? And they're going to go this other direction. And for me, like, if they do end up moving away, which it kind of sounds like they're going to, um, I'm a little disappointed because number one, he's killing it in the Kang the Conqueror role, absolutely killing it. And I know there's stuff going on with him, and that's why they're trying to pivot, I guess. But this season of Loki has taken all the meh I've kind of felt about the Marvel universe and got me excited about it again. So if they do kind of go away from that angle, I'll be kind of disappointed because that season I thought it was phenomenal. I love Loki as a character. It's a good way to wrap up his story at the end. And it just felt good. Like I felt like, all right, I have Loki's story now. I'm excited to see where we go from here, and how it ties into the rest of the universe. It was just extremely well done. Extremely. Hopefully they don't completely abandon it. But yeah, and then give me that Scott Pilgrim.
I am 4 or 5 episodes in.
Wow. Okay.
First take, and this will be nice and short because Scott Pilgrim is a timeless piece. Hopefully, it's definitely a cult classic to a lot of us. They took the entire original cast. Not to mention, they also worked with the original author of the graphic novels, and it's essentially a sequel / remake, or at least animated remake of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's what I was surprised with is it delves deeper into the individual, Ramona's time with each individual X, and I have the graphic novels, but I read them a long time ago. I've also watched Scott Pilgrim a couple of times since then. So where the graphic novels are and where Scott Pilgrim versus the World with Michael Cera and such are blending together. Long story short, I think it's a great watch because it retains the Scott Pilgrim humor that we are used to from the movie, or if you read the graphic novels as well. The evil X's are just as evil. It's really funny. Chris Evans, his role as the X, you could hear him in the animated portion, and it sounded and was portrayed just like his character. He's one of my favorite X's, if not
Yeah.
my favorite X, just because of his blah attitude. And the random skateboarding movie star, tough guy. But it's fantastic. They really go into Ramona and why the X's are the X, besides a brief flashback, which is what the movie does. This one goes really into what they did when they were together and then became X's. So I like it. If you watch the movie way back in 2010, which is when I think it came out, 2010, 2011, I think you should come back specifically to hear all of the people that you cherished from the original movie voicing their roles in the sequel. Everybody's in there. Wallace, his roommate, everybody's in it. And I can't wait to see how far it goes, because when my wife and I started watching it, because we both love Scott Pilgrim, when my wife and I first started watching it, we thought it was just going to be Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where you go through, he fights the X's, yada yada yada, that type of thing. No, this could be a while in terms of how long they draw the season out. So, or how they draw the series out. So,
I've never watched the movie.
What? It's a
I've never
great
seen
movie.
this movie.
oh, so for those of you like Barry, Scott Pilgrim, played by Michael Cera, is
Incredible movie.
yeah, he's essentially a nobody.
Yep.
Well, what I
He
want to
meets.
ask is, do I need to watch the movie before I watch this?
I would.
I would. I'm sad you didn't, because it's
Yeah.
video game references
Yeah.
literally throughout the entire
Everywhere.
movie. It's Michael Cera.
Everywhere.
Michael Cera dates this woman named Ramona, and he finds out he physically needs to defeat her exes
Right.
in
Yeah,
order
to
to date her.
2010, I
Mhm.
was not going to the movie theaters. Just and that's and there was as I've mentioned before, there was a time in my life where I probably didn't go to the movie theaters for almost 12 years.
Okay.
I'll tell you
That
how.
was
I mean,
during that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I got introduced to this movie. I used to have a friend who had a house in the area that we lived in. for that particular year, it was in my early 20s where my roommate didn't want to pay for cable. I went to this friend's house one weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I watched the movie every time because it was on their television. It
Yeah.
just kept being on, and I loved it.
I'll have to watch it.
It's the perfect mix of video game culture, anime culture, and just like that, those two combined. It's right up your alley. You'll enjoy the movie. I would definitely watch the movie.
This is definitely a Barry movie. This is
Oh,
a movie that I
okay.
think you would show me, Barry, if I didn't
Oh,
watch
yeah.
it already.
Yep. And you could also read the books. They're great.
Okay.
They are.
Well, with that being said, a little bit of Barry's anime corner before we go. One, Suzume, one of a really good like anime movie, is now out on Crunchyroll. If you guys haven't seen that, really well animated movie and fun. On top of that, too, I'll have more next podcast, but the mistreatment of anime studio Nappa workers or Mappa workers has been quite documented within the past 3 days. I'll have more. Uh, but sad to see, much like in the video game world, people are being overworked and their lives treated as lesser than for the sake of entertainment. So, we'll get into that, but I won't get too much into it this podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening. I appreciate everyone sticking for this very long episode, but after a bye week, what do? You catch up and you put on a performance of a lifetime, I think is what we've all done here.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. 100%.
if we've come back in a very strong way, and we're going to end it as well in a strong way. So if you're listening, please make sure to leave us a review and share it with a person you think would enjoy it on your podcast listening platform of choice. If you're watching the YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe, and also leave a comment. Let me know how I'm a fake video game nerd anime guy from not seeing Scott Pilgrim,
Yep.
or how Super Mario RPG is this deep, thought-rooted thing that I don't understand because I'm too young, or something like that.
He's too young.
I appreciate all the support that you guys continue to give us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.